Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So good to be here today. I'm back with another reaction. Today I'll be checking out British tribute to 9/11. I recently reacted to 9/11 as it happened. I just wanted to check out this and see how the British gave their tribute to the 9/11. So without further talking, let's check this out.
It was a unique gesture. In a show of support, the Queen broke with tradition. Changing of the guard was altered for the first time.
Absolutely.
Thousands gathered, quietly joining in as the band played the American national anthem.
I'm kind of feeling teary. so.
And after the cheers, a silence, a pause to think of those touched by this tragedy. As what has happened sinks in, here in Britain, emotion and despair are increasingly on display. Thousands of people in this country have been caught up in this tragedy. In terms of victims, this is the worst terrorist atrocity to hit Britain. And throughout today, here in the grounds of the American Embassy, people have been arriving to pay their respects.
I guess this video was done just when it happened, around the period it happened, so it makes sense, you know, because I was actually thinking it was quite a recent one. From the videos you can see it's quite like an older clip. It was still very fresh here, and even though I'm still watching it, I'm still kind of remembering like how it all happened and everything, and the families and all the victims of this dreadful attack. And it can never be erased from one's memory. It's just something that will always be there. We can never forget it. So this is actually a very good gesture. This tribute was a very, very good one. And you can see all the people gathering there, how it affected the whole world.
I want to give support if I can. I want just to be here so that they know the British people are thinking of them.
I'm grieving. I want to be with people that are grieving. I need to get home so I can go to funeral.
Oh dear.
Reported to us as being missing.
This new bureau has been set up at Scotland Yard to help coordinate the search for the missing. 100 British people are known to have died. Hundreds more are unaccounted for. A cabinet minister has been appointed by the Prime Minister to help relatives here.
The suffering of families facing the uncertainty about what's happened to their loved ones is absolutely dreadful, and that's why we have to do everything possible to ease some of the burden of responsibility and worrying about the whole range of practical issues.
No section of the community has been hit harder than the city. Another silence today in London's financial district. So many colleagues still lost.
Really felt quite unreal, and I think the full impact of this will not really
unreal.
Get through to people for maybe weeks or months in some cases.
And many individuals are trapped in a terrible waiting game. Trudy Freeman has still not heard from her former husband, the father of her children, who worked on the 105th floor of the first building to be hit.
Yeah, I just feel that I'm not doing too much, although, I'm searching on the internet. I can't physically go around and look at the hospitals and try and find him, especially if there's no ID on him or he's unconscious somewhere. So I just really want to get out there and just physically search for him.
The attack was on another country thousands of miles away, but it is having a terrible effect on so many people, so many lives here in Britain. Richard Bilton, BBC News.
World. That was crazy. No matter how many times I watch it, no matter how old this, gets, it's something that is still kind of fresh on your mind, and you keep looking at it, it's still so fresh and gets you all emotional. You can never forget such a terrible attack. It's difficult to even imagine it. So once it comes up, you just feel that emotional rush and you just can't help it. Just can't help it. And so I'm actually merging this video with another one. UK honors 20th anniversary of 9/11. Wow, that's like so many years already have gone. And see how much it still affects the the world. You don't talk about it. You talk about it today and you still feel the pain. The pain is just so still fresh. So let's check out this video.
Of the nearly 3,000 people who lost their lives on September 11, 67 were British victims. A memorial service was held at London's Olympic Park, while the Queen paid tribute in a message sent to US President Joe Biden.
20 years on from our greatest ally's greatest tragedy, this was a very British way to mark the anniversary of 9/11. The sound of the Star-Spangled Banner at Windsor Castle, part of a special changing of the guard ceremony. It accompanied a message from the Queen to Joe Biden, celebrating the strength of those who responded to the call of duty and those who stayed to rebuild. My visit to the site of the World Trade Center in 2010 is held fast in my memory. It reminds me that as we honor those from many nations, faiths and backgrounds who lost their lives, we also pay tribute to the resilience and determination of the communities who joined together to rebuild. At the event was the acting US ambassador, moved by a gesture of friendship, solidarity and unity.
It's almost hard to find words to reflect upon what that means to us and the importance of the US, UK, United States, United Kingdom, united together as friends and as allies. And for that, we are immensely grateful.
At the Olympic Park, a charred chunk of metal taken from Ground Zero was a backdrop for an afternoon of remembrance. There were 67 British victims that day, including John Egan's father Michael and Aunt Christine.
At that moment, I saw the planes hitting the towers crumbling, replay, and quickly realize that my life and the world was going to be changed forever.
This is something that will stick for life. You can never forget such a thing. I see him, I just imagine how young he must have been at that time, receiving the sad news, knowing that you have a family member in there, knowing such a terrible, tragic event was happening at that time. How would you feel at that time? Like, how in God's name? Like, I guess I'm just actually so speechless. I can look at him, and this was like 3 years ago, and it's crazy.
They watched as the Prime Minister said, the spectre of terrorism has only served to strengthen transatlantic ties.
But while the terrorists imposed their burden of grief and suffering, and while the threat persists today, we can now say, with the perspective of 20 years, that they failed to shake our belief in freedom and democracy.
True.
Here and across the country, a mixture of young and old came together to reflect on a moment that has helped to shape the world we live in today. Sir Richard Dearlove was head of the MI6 at the time of the attack, and he hopes it continues to provide a lesson for years to come.
I hope that a lot of young people today will know enough about what happened to reflect on the significance of having commemorations and understand, you know, why we have to make a determined effort to root out extremism.
Thinking about the present, today was a reminder September 11th, 2001 lives on in the hearts and minds of people on both sides of the Atlantic. Shingi Mararike, Sky News.
Wow. What I know is such an event one can never forget. It was so terrible. It was disastrous. It shook the whole world. Innocent people, innocent lives were lost and lives were changed forever. The thought of it alone is heartbreaking, and it's so sad. Every year that passes, we keep bringing out that pain. You keep remembering that pain it caused. Talk more of people who actually had like family members in there, who lost family members to such a disastrous event. I don't know how much pain they still feel till date. It can never be erased. Thoughtful, the remembrance and the honors. My heart still goes to all the victims and their families and their loved ones. May they all rest in perfect peace. I'll see you all in my next video. From me, it's bye.